Hey everybody, it's Eric Meyer, Master Great Lakes Chief Instructor. We're going to show what near perfect laps look like. When I say near perfect, I mean lap times. These are lap times that are within like nothing, 2/100ths of a second apart. 2/100ths of a second is this. The average person, and you can look at this up on Google because that's what I did. The average person blinks at a speed of about 2 to 4 tenths a second. 2 to 4 tenths a second. This is 1/10 of a human blinking, a fast blinker, right? See that right there? 234.13, 234.15. So these are laps that are the same, right? If John would have moved his transponder forward a foot in his car from behind the front bumper to in front of the front bumper, I suspect that this car would have, or this lap right here would have actually been ahead. So we're talking about next to nothing. So we're going to look at this. And as always, I have the GPS long trace. By the way, this is at NCM. John's in a Spec Miata with a fresh motor. He also has some wonderful channels that we can take a look at. Brake pressure, RPM, and throttle position. He invested in those. Wonderful stuff. We're actually going to not use those for this analysis, but you need to know that he has them and that we can use them. And those are a little more advanced, and we're going to look at those at another video. Okay, so let's get started here. Here's what we're going to look at. That 234 right there, and that 234.1 right there. Okay, we're going to put on this, oopsie, we're going to put on that lap. I'm going to highlight both of those. Put on that lap compare. As always, I'm going to take this faster lap. It's only 2/100ths faster. I'm going to double click. I'm going to make that black. Try to be kind of consistent in these videos. And remember that green, the slower by 2/100ths, is this green, which is this green, which is this green. Okay? And the black, the faster lap by 2/100ths, 2/100ths as a percentage, that's crazy nothing. Crazy nothing. Actually, let me tell you what 2/100ths is. This is minutes, right? This is 120 seconds, right? 60 times 2, 120 seconds, plus 34 seconds. So 120 plus 34 is 154, right? This is 0.02 out of 154. 0.02 out of 154. Guys, that's huge. Huge in the terms of it's nothing, right? It's absolutely nothing. But we're going to look at that, and we're going to see what is in John's data and what likely is in your data is too. So even though these are the same, we're going to take a look. So these are some laps in NCM and a Spec Miata, and we're going to use this time lost, or also called lap compare or delta. Okay, and we're going to read this a little bit. So remember, the black line right here is the reference lap, the faster of the two, by 2/100ths of a second, which is about 1/10 of a human blinking, the time of somebody blinking, 1/10, right? 1/10. You have to take these laps and do them 10 times, 10 laps, and total these to total the amount of a person blinking one time. Pretty big deal, right? 2/100ths. Okay, so how we interpret this graph is that the green line is actually ahead. The green lap is actually ahead by almost 2/10. There it is right here. See down my Mickey Mouse hand down here? By 2/10. We're not really going to be concerned right now by why that is. It's like it got a better run onto the front straight, and right here we're talking 1 mile an hour difference. See that? 94.9, 90. So we're talking the value of 1 mile an hour difference. And let's look down here. Look at that. 2/10 of a mile an hour difference. And then right here, about 1 mile an hour difference, right? And let's look here. Exactly the same. going into the brake zone. But here's where there's variations, and we can see that right here. The green lap is ahead by 1.5 tenths. Does everybody down there see this? But the green lap slows down more, right? And we can see that up here in our longitudinal G's. John really rolls some great speed in here, right? Really rolls some great speed in here, and he's braking more. He's got more braking force, right? And there may have been traffic, there may have not, but the important thing to note and how to interpret this is the green lap is 1.5 tenths ahead, and after that event, it's 1.5 tenths behind. So there's a 3 tenths change right here. Now, I want you to look over here at the track map, and I want you to understand what 3 tenths looks like. Remember? 3 tenths. Back here, we talk about 2 100ths. 2 100ths. But right here, here's what 3 tenths looks like. Okay? 3 tenths just in that corner. And by overslowing by, or keeping into, it's probably traffic, by 7 miles per hour. Okay? This isn't a crush on John for 7 miles an hour. Because right back here, he tries to gain up as much as he can, and he resumes party within a half mile an hour. Possibly something happens right here. We don't know. Possibly something happens right here. But look, he's stacking these times on themselves. Look at that, 3 tenths of a mile an hour. 2 tenths of a mile. Something happens right here. Big change, big difference, right? 5 miles an hour, right? But he's stacking them up right here. Almost exactly the same 1 mile an hour difference, and some small changes right here. The net effect is 2 100ths of a second. So even though you're looking at your lap timer, your AIM Solo, your Harry's lap timer, your whatever it is you're logging, only when you get into the data and you start looking at this and seeing some of the magnitudes of the mile an hour, and that's all you need. You know, I like the long G and I like the mile an hour to figure out where the difference is. Because if you just look at your lap times and you say, man, I'm consistent, I'm 2 100ths of a second consistent, that's 1/10 of a human eye blinking, you're not, because right here you're a second behind, right? In fact, from right here, and we'll go back to the track map, from right here, right, to right here, just that small portion of track right here to right here, there's a second difference. So don't kid yourself that you're that consistent, because for whatever reason, traffic or other, a lap time that looks like it's the same can easily be 1 second apart for only what is about 10% of the track. Okay? So drill into your data, look at this lap compare, try to figure out what there is and understand about the consistencies. And more importantly, don't fall for the fact that just because you're running the exact same lap times, you're consistent. Because right here we're 6 miles an hour apart for whatever reason. Right here we're 5 miles an hour apart. Right here we're corner entry, we're 5 miles an hour apart. Okay, so drill down, look into your data, and put consistency in perspective. I'm Eric Meyer. We'll talk to you soon.